Welcome to Senior Serenity. Today, I want to take you through one of the most inspiring transformation stories ever shared on this channel. It's the story of a man who refused to let age, pain, or a frightening diagnosis decide the rest of his life. A man who, at 72 years old, reversed 8 years of worsening knee pain so severe it nearly pushed him into major surgery, and he did it in just 30 days without injections, without medications, and without giving up the things he loved. This is the full journey of Mr. Peter, a former hiker whose comeback reminds us that the body's ability to heal is far greater than we're told, especially when we treat it as a connected system instead of a collection of failing parts. Mr. Peter's story doesn't begin with a sudden injury or an accident. It began the way so many struggles begin, quietly, subtly, almost unnoticeably. He first felt the stiffness in his left knee one morning after a long walk on the hillside trails he used to explore every weekend. It wasn't painful, just tight, like the knee didn't want to bend as smoothly as it used to. He brushed it off, thinking it was just age or maybe a long day catching up to him. But over the next few months, the stiffness became more frequent. He found himself avoiding longer walks and taking more breaks. He stopped kneeling in the garden because getting back up felt awkward and uncomfortable. Still, he ignored it. He was active, he was healthy, and he wasn't the type to worry over small aches. Eventually, though, the stiffness turned into pain. First a 2 out of 10, then a 4, then sometimes a 6 on days when he was more active. The slow creep of discomfort became a constant hum in his life, and over time, it shaped his choices more than he realized. He cut his morning hikes in half. He hesitated before taking stairs. He found excuses to avoid long outings. Without even saying it out loud, he was building his life around avoiding pain. After 5 years of this quiet decline, Mr. Peter finally went to the doctor. X-rays were taken. The doctor looked at him, sighed, and told him the words many seniors hear: severe osteoarthritis. Almost bone on bone. It's only going to get worse. He was advised to prepare for a total knee replacement. Mr. Peter listened, nodded, and went home, but inside he was shaken. He wasn't afraid of surgery itself, he was afraid of losing who he was. He had always been a mover, an explorer, someone who loved trails, parks, and mountains. The thought of months of recovery, limited mobility, and a long rehabilitation process felt like losing a piece of his identity. Still, he tried to stay positive. He told himself he'd schedule the surgery eventually. But deep inside, the fear settled and sat heavy. Everything changed 8 years after the first stiffness, on a winter morning that would become the turning point of his entire journey. He woke up, swung his legs off the bed, stood, and felt a sharp, grinding pain shoot through his left knee. It felt like metal scraping metal, a glass grinding sensation that made him gasp and grab the edge of the dresser. He couldn't straighten his leg fully. He couldn't take a step without fear of collapsing. For the first time in his life, he felt truly fragile. That was his breaking point. He sat on the edge of the bed for nearly an hour, holding his knee, feeling helpless and frustrated. He thought about the surgery, the recovery, the long-term consequences. He imagined himself unable to hike again. He imagined losing the freedom he cherished. And then, something inside him snapped. Not in anger, but in determination. He remembered words a friend once told him: "Your knee isn't failing, your support system is." At the time, he didn't fully understand it. But in that moment, in pain, in fear, and in desperation, the meaning struck him. Maybe the knee wasn't the true problem. Maybe the knee was simply the weakest link in a chain that had grown imbalanced over years. He realized he had been treating his knee like a failing mechanical part instead of part of a living, dynamic system influenced by everything around it: his hips, his posture, his nutrition, his inflammation, his sleep. Everything. That was the moment he made a radical decision. Before he allowed anyone to cut him open, he would dedicate 30 days, just 30 days, to rebuilding the entire system around the knee. He gave himself a deadline. 30 days of discipline, of structure, of doing everything he possibly could to support healing. And if nothing improved, then he would consider the surgery. But he owed himself the chance to try. The next morning, he began. He didn't start with heavy exercise or high-intensity routines. He started small, very small. He knew that if he overloaded the knee, it would react with swelling or pain. So he began with gentle, controlled movements designed to wake up the muscles around the joint without aggravating it. Each morning, he held onto a chair and performed slow leg swings, forward and backward, side to side. Just 10 minutes of gentle activation. He didn't bend deeply. He didn't force anything. He just let the joint move through comfortable ranges, allowing blood to flow and muscles to engage. After that, he added chair-assisted mini squats, not full squats, but tiny dips focusing on form, alignment, and hip engagement. Only about 10 to 15 gentle reps twice a day. He focused on keeping his spine long, his hips engaged, and his knees tracking properly. Within 3 days, he noticed that the morning stiffness was slightly less intense. By the end of the first week, he expanded his routine with a 5-minute hip strengthening series. He knew that the hips control knee alignment, so he performed side leg raises, light glute squeezes, and gentle bridge holds. These small movements began stabilizing the chain above the knee, reducing the stress placed directly on the joint. By the end of week 2, something surprising happened. The grinding sensation that had frightened him so deeply began to fade. Not disappear, but soften. It no longer felt sharp. It no longer made him wince. It became just a dull, subtle noise, a sign that the inflammation was starting to calm. But movement was only part of the transformation. Mr. Peter realized that his diet was contributing to his inflammation. So, on day 1 of his 30-day journey, he made a strict rule: absolutely no added sugar. No pastries, no cookies, no sweetened drinks. He wasn't perfect in many areas of his life, but in this one, he was unwavering. Each morning, he replaced his usual breakfast coffee with a warm turmeric and ginger tea. He added lemon for extra antioxidant support. At lunch, he included either salmon, sardines, or an omega-3 capsule. By day 5, he said his body felt less puffy, and his knee no longer throbbed at night. He also increased his water intake, something he had always overlooked. Proper hydration helped lubricate the joint and support tissue healing. Then he addressed recovery, an area he had never prioritized before. He committed to a strict sleep schedule, in bed by 10:30 p.m. every night, lights out, no excuses. He used 15 minutes of gentle heat on his knee before sleep to relax the surrounding muscles. He also implemented a daily afternoon rest ritual, lying flat with his legs elevated for 20 minutes. No phone, no TV, just rest. That habit alone reduced his swelling dramatically. He added one more category to his system: local support. He purchased a simple compression sleeve and wore it during his walks. It stabilized the joint, providing just enough support to reduce unnecessary motion without limiting mobility. He also started applying a magnesium-based cream to the knee twice a day. It didn't magically cure the joint, but it relaxed the tight muscles around it, making movement easier. By the end of the second week, the pain that was once an 8 out of 10 had dropped to a 5. By the end of the third week, it fell to a 3. And by day 30, something remarkable happened. He walked down the stairs in his home, something that used to make him wince every morning, and realized he felt no sharp pain. No grinding. No instability. He stood at the bottom of the staircase in disbelief, gently bending his knee, testing it, expecting that familiar sting. But it wasn't there. He didn't feel cured. He didn't feel like he had reversed time. But he felt strong, stronger than he had felt in nearly a decade. The burning inflammation that used to haunt his nights was gone. The daily stiffness that used to greet him every morning had almost vanished. And his confidence was back. When he looked at stairs or long paths or uneven ground, he no longer felt fear. He felt possibility. He didn't schedule the knee replacement. Instead, he scheduled a small hike, his first in years. When he finished his 30-day journey, he looked back at everything he did and compiled it into a system. A simple, structured protocol, not just for himself, but for anyone who wanted to reclaim their mobility the same way he did. He called it his 5-step knee reversal protocol, and here's exactly what it includes. First, he emphasized the mindset shift, understanding that the knee is not a failing part but a reflection of the entire body's balance, mechanics, and inflammation. When you commit to treating the system, not just the symptom, healing becomes possible. Next, the movement foundation, daily gentle activation. 10 minutes of leg swings and mini squats twice a day. 5 minutes of hip work. No pain, no pushing, just consistent, intelligent activation. Then the nutrition reset, eliminating added sugars, adding turmeric and ginger tea every morning, and consuming omega-3s daily to reduce inflammation at the cellular level. The 4th step, recovery as medicine. Prioritizing sleep, applying 15 minutes of heat before bed, and taking a daily 20-minute rest with the legs elevated to allow tissues to calm and repair. Finally, local support, wearing a compression sleeve during walks and applying a magnesium-based cream twice daily to relax muscles and reduce stiffness. From beginning to end, Mr. Peter's journey was not about intensity. It was about intention. It wasn't about pushing harder, it was about supporting the body intelligently. And through that simple shift, he did what many believed was impossible at his age. He reversed 8 years of knee pain in 30 days, avoided surgery, regained his mobility, and reclaimed his life. When asked what advice he'd give to someone in their 50s starting to notice early knee discomfort, he always says the same thing: don't ignore the whispers. Strengthen your support system before the knee screams. This is more than a story. It's a reminder that transformation is possible at any age when you treat your body as a system, not a set of broken parts. Thank you for joining this powerful journey here on Senior Serenity. May Mr. Peter's story inspire you to believe in your own strength, your own resilience, and your own capacity to heal.